are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast. This is the 243 of the College Loop Podcast. I'm Don Larck. I will take on Twitter here to talk to you about the latest in Auburn athletics news. But as you see behind me, I have a nice little background that I wanted to incorporate because it's currently freezing on the plains. Consensus top 5 class for the Auburn Tigers going to the 2025 season for the 2025 recruiting cycle. There we go. Not the 2025 season yet. But we are, as it stands, 6 days away from Auburn football. We are minus 1 day from just college football in general. I'll give my thoughts on college football yesterday because I have a lot of opinions about what happened. But Auburn football, just start off with its answers have been prayered. Brian Battie been released from the hospital, was able to walk under his own power. Praise God that was able to happen. But so huge shout out to Brian Battie, just a soldier. I wish the best from him. Just what he had to go through. No one should ever have to go through that. So big prayers, and just glad to see that he is still with us. So with that, going to get right into the news. Nick Saban has given his little prediction for Auburn football for the 2024 season. Giving Auburn the what's the word I want to use here? The privilege of being his most improved team in the 2024 season. There we go. I put 2023 on my notes. This is awesome to see, and especially from Nick Saban, a guy who, greatest college football coach of all time. Glad to see that he is giving Auburn some respect, and it's the highest honor from Nick Saban, greatest coach to have ever been on the sidelines. And you look at what Auburn is doing recruiting-wise, you can't help but think that. So you kind of get into the season. I'm currently projecting Auburn to go 8-4, come back for tomorrow's show for the Iron Bowl preview. So we'll see about that tomorrow, and that kind of goes into the Nick Saban conversation. Wide receiver room is way stacked compared to last season. You have quarterbacks that coaches are confident in this year with Peyton Thorne. The defense loaded up on new coaches, and you got Charles Kelly and DJ Durkin leading the helm of the defensive position on the defensive side of the ball. You have 2 kickers who could be starting wherever they went, and you have to start one of them. This team feels like a team that teams should be worried about, and I just said teams a lot there. But Auburn this year feels like a threat to teams. And I don't think Auburn's going to go win 10 games this year. I think they're going to win 9 games. I'm sticking with my gut here at 8-4. But I think Auburn has a shot to surprise a lot of teams. And if it comes in terms of where last year, Auburn was very competitive last year when it came to the Deep South Orange rivalry against Georgia and the Iron Bowl against Alabama. I don't think you're going to have another incident like you did last year with the New Mexico State game. I think you're going to see an Auburn team that wants to play at the highest level of the game. You're finally getting that from this Auburn team. The vibes are there. The recruits are coming in hot. Auburn across the boards. Something feels good about this Auburn team. Something feels great about this Auburn team. So I'm glad Nick Saban's seeing it. I'm glad the college football world possibly is seeing it too. I just can't wait for Alabama A&M on Saturday. I will be in attendance for that game. This will be the first shot for all of us to see what Auburn can really do. You probably won't see the full thing, but you're probably going to get a lot of rushing yards from this team off the rip. But I would be shocked if first play is a deep ball to one of these receivers. Cam Coleman, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Robert Lewis. But it's just outstanding to see Auburn having this much hype on a year where they probably shouldn't. That's not me saying Auburn shouldn't have hype going into the season, but we're saying, you're going year 2 of a coach, a team that had to be rebuilt from the inside out. And you're seeing the idea being built into the team. You're seeing the sides of Coach Hugh Freeze that, he doesn't think Auburn's going to be competing for a national championship this year, but he's saying next year, maybe. He's saying the next year, we should be competing for national championship 2026. That is something Hugh Freeze has said before and been preaching about. He wants Auburn to be at the pinnacle of college football by 2026. And at the level he's recruiting, he has the opportunity to get there by next year, just by recruiting as heavily as he is. And I mean, just get to recruits. I mean, Friday Night Lights has started. If you're in the high school realm of football, like I am, like I have to work in, you see recruits that Auburn has coming in that are balling out. You have Denarius Gray just snatching the ball from defenders. He's a 2026 guy. You have Jared Thompson coming in for 2025, who just went on a tear against Grayson High School. You just see the guys that Auburn is recruiting to come in and change the outlook of Auburn football in the future. You're seeing those guys ball out now, and you just can't wait to see them next year and the year after that. And it's really cool. And Auburn did pick up another commitment, and we'll get into that in just a second. But guys like that, Alvin Henderson rushed for 325 yards on Friday night. It's awesome to see the guys that are building blocks for Auburn's future just ball out and just have outstanding games. And you're going to see a lot more of them as the season goes on, because a lot of these guys, I'm expecting a lot of these guys that are 4 stars, high 4 stars, to be 5 stars by the end of the season. Jared Thompson being one of those guys, of course, who I think he's a 5-star to I think 24/7 standards, but I don't think he's a consensus 5-star across the board, if I'm not mistaken. Jared Smith. I don't know where to get Jared Thompson from. Jared Smith. Sorry about that, from Thompson. So, and Auburn was able to pick up another consensus top 100 player, and Nate, his name is Nathaniel, but I guess my Nate Marshall, number 6 defensive line in the country, number 2 overall player in the state of Illinois, number 46 player in the country, 6'4", 265 defensive lineman, flipped him from Michigan. Now, whether or not that's just because Michigan might be getting a boot in a second, because NCAA has since gotten some information about their allegations of cheating, but Auburn went hard in the paint trying to get another just high level defensive lineman for this class, and they got one in Nate Marshall. He is an athletic freak. He plays basketball, he plays football. He's tall, he's fast, he's strong, and he has the potential to develop into another one of these X Factor D linemen that Auburn is very heavily recruiting in this class. I mean, you have Jared Smith, you have Malik Autry, you have Nate Marshall, you have Jordan Crawford, guys like that in a couple of years might be your entire 4-man front. It's just, you love to see just how Auburn is steadily just picking up more and more speed as it goes along, hence the background behind me. And you're expecting more. And again, I say this all the time. In my 24 years of living, in my 20 years of being conscious enough to be an Auburn fan, I have never seen the Auburn Tigers recruit at a level at this pace. Auburn is recruiting at a level that we have never seen before, and it is outstanding to see. I mean, Auburn currently number 1 class overall in class 2026. You have the top 5 class this year, and with Deuce Knight trying to figure out where he's going to go to, if he's going to flip from Notre Dame, if he's going to go to Ole Miss, if he's going to come to Auburn. You also have like Sadarian Morgan out of Benjamin Russell. You have all of these guys that can potentially get you a top 3 class. I mean, it's there. There are a lot of guys I'm not even mentioning that I think Auburn has a good chance of grabbing. I mean, this is just next level in terms of what Auburn is doing, what Hugh Freeze has done to Auburn's recruiting outlook. And, you're getting a guy in Nate Marshall who, again, plays both sides of the ball, plays basketball, athletic freak on the defensive line. You combine that with Malik Autry, and Jordan Crawford, who are both 2 strong guys in the middle who are going to bull rush the offensive line, and then Jared Smith, who's going to be an edge rusher. I mean, again, you have a 4-man front right there in your 2025 class. And, going to this season, the big question mark, going into last season, the big question mark was the wide receiver room. And then you had Hugh Freeze go in and recruit 4 wide receivers to look to replace the guys that, you don't really feel fit the scheme. And then you go into this season, the big question mark is the interior defensive line, or the defensive line in general, the depth that is there. What does the interior look like? Is Philip Bleedy going to be able to keep up with what Marcus Harris did last year? And so on and so forth. And you watch this recruiting class get built up, and you're seeing the idea. You're seeing whatever needs to be fixed. Hugh Freeze is working to recruit the solution to that problem. And this recruiting class is an example of that. He's still trying to recruit wide receivers for this class, trying to just build that up. I mean, Alabama built a dynasty on recruiting just the best players in the country year in and year out. And doing it in state is the first step in doing that. And we've seen it before. The top 8 out of the top 10 players in the state of Alabama, 8 of those guys are committed to the Auburn Tigers. And hopefully they all stay throughout the remaining of their recruitment. Signing day is going to be the big day. I know Ike Jones from the War Poor, he doesn't get hyped about recruiting until it's signing day, and then all those guys are officially Auburn Tigers. So can't wait to see what Nate Jones can do, or Nate Marshall. I get names all confused now. See what Nate Marshall can do for the Tigers in hopefully a couple of months. But so with that, I think that's pretty much all my news that I have. I will say I do have a little bit of a tidbit going on with the Thursday show. Thursday show will be changing into just a typical Auburn pregame show plus college football prediction show. I am trying to get more into the college football space. Just trying to talk about all college football in general. Week 0 was yesterday. Was all over week 0. I got to see Georgia Tech beat Florida State. That was awesome. I got to watch Montana State come back and beat New Mexico, which was basically a scouting report. I must say, out of my week 0 reactions points, watching New Mexico play against Montana State, there is no way in the world that the state of New Mexico sweeps Auburn. That team is terrible. I think you might see 2 100-yard rushers again, 100-plus yard rushers against New Mexico in week 2. Week 3. There you go. Because their D-line is shot. I think that you have it's just Jarquez Hunter and Damari Alston are just going to have a field day. You're going to see some of Jeremiah Cobb as well get in there. They're just not a good football team. And I hate to say that 3 weeks in. I don't want to be on New Mexico's Twitter and they're like, oh, we're going to do what New Mexico State did to Auburn last year. That team's just not good. And to go into speaking of not good, Florida State's not a good team either. Last Sunday, I had my whole prediction show talking about what I think the college football playoff is going to look like this season. I have since revised that. I will be posting a new one tomorrow. I'm taking Florida State completely out of my playoffs. I've voided all connection with me picking Florida State to win the ACC. They look terrible. DJ Uiagalelei just played. I think it was the graphic where his average time or average distance of the ball being in the air was like negative 0.1 yards, which I'm no mathematician, but I know that's terrible. Florida State just went into an entire offseason where they complained that they did not have a shot at the college football playoff last year. That they went out on the field and did that. That's bad. That was terrible. So I got Virginia Tech coming in now in the ACC as the second best team. I don't think Clemson's going to be that team to beat. I think it's Virginia Tech and I think NC State are the 2 teams I think are going to run the ACC this year. But yeah, I'm not high on Florida State. I'm not high on the ACC in general anymore. I really need to see my other 2 picks perform well in week 1 before I start giving the ACC a lot of credit. But I mean, SMU went against Nevada and struggled against them. It was bad. It was terrible. But kind of just going back into Auburn football, Alabama A&M is this week. Auburn gets a chance to start off 1-0. I don't think Alabama A&M is going to give Auburn too much of an issue. I think you're going to see Auburn going out there and trying to get as many points as possible, trying to impress the sold-out Jordan-Hare Stadium for a kickoff on the Plains. So I am super stoked that I'm going to be in attendance for that game. I already have my tickets. I already have everything planned out to a T. What time I'm getting to the stadium, what time we're going to get food. But everything is already planned out because I am super excited for that week. But that pretty much does it for this episode. I mean, outside of the recruit, nothing's really happened. It's been a very quiet couple of weeks for Auburn football, which kind of went before the season starts. Fall camp is over with. These last couple of days of practice before you got to actually show it off on the field. And on Alabama A&M, I will say on the Tuesday show, I will be doing a power rankings of the SEC. before we get started with the season, because the SEC's not played yet, but I do think they play I think we do have an SEC game on Friday. If not, we definitely just have one on Saturday, or have all of them on Saturday. But being a short live stream, I'm just kind of going out and kind of seeing what news we got to talk about. I mean, the recruitment news is about it. Wait for the season to start, and we're going to have packed shows every single week. Sundays reacting to the Auburn football game, reacting to college football in general. Thursday shows being all college football prediction shows, and then Tuesday is going to be reserved for talking whatever news come out from Auburn football within that week. So that does it for this of the College Football Live show. It's only a 16-minute show today, so a nice little quick one. I'm Dylan Larck, on Twitter, and also have Instagram as well at Dylan Larck, DYLNLARCK. And you can find me right here on the College Loop podcast, where you should like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on social medias as well, on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, the works, all of those at the College Loop. And with all that being said, thanks for watching this installment of the College Loop. And as always, War Eagle.